if that's the case for me, I can't imagine what it's like for anything less liberal. So I don't take that 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 was a huge, that's just luck.
Yeah.
That was just huge, pure luck. And
Did anybody
to the
surprise you?
parent,
Wait, go. Keep
yeah,
going. Keep going on the parents. You go.
yeah, I had a few surprises along the way. People that were close to me, and but for parents, I would just say it is so much more of a reflection of who you are as a person, um and your entitlement and your fear and your self, I think, your sense of, maybe parents think that their like status is going to change somehow if their kid is queer in some way, and I just think that that is so egotistical and so self-centered to think that your life is going to change. And it's such an inherent lack of understanding and love for your kid if you can't get onto the side of your kid, or at least try, even if you're cis and straight. Like, if you don't even try to listen to your queer kid talking, it is that's just shameful to me. And it's not to say that I don't understand why people have such an aversion, especially when, being gay is great until it's, in practice it's your own kid. But it is it has such an impact on me because I want to be a parent so bad, and like the idea that parents would bring a child into the world and then reject it because it's naturally queer. Like, don't have a kid in the first place. Don't have a kid if you're not going to love them. And it's just, yeah. So I don't know.
Social pressure, right, Carter? Social pressure.
Yeah, it's just so,
At
it
all different,
really
at all
strikes at
levels,
the,
right? All different levels. I don't care if you're a garbage man or a janitor or you're the CEO of a
yeah,
company. I guess you'll feel the social pressures everywhere. But as you say, you bring a human being into this world, and you
yeah.
and you
They
raise
don't,
them.
they don't want to be here.
Yeah,
Like, they had no choice.
like you better
Yeah,
support their journeys. And I think um, conversations like this, you and I talking and having people tune in is going to be really
yeah,
inspiring. And I think it's so important at this point. Obviously, you know, people validating us is really, really important. But at the same
yeah,
time, if we're comfortable with who we are and our journeys, and now for me, as I joke with you, but it's happening with you already, where um, you're becoming the expert. You're going to become the not a social experiment. You're just a natural, a natural, what would I say, evolution of what's happening today. And
right,
and there's nothing too weird about it, as long as you can
right,
make it normal and not
right.
be aggressive about it. And but for some, they may need to push the issue here and there, and they want their voices heard, and that's okay. I think it's okay to be able to do
Yeah,
that through social media, to be able to do that through utilizing different tools. And I think it's probably, to me, as long as it's done positively, I think it's the right route to take. But
right.
I have been able to, you go from feeling like I was taught as a kid that being queer was being weak, like you were weak, and
Mm,
queer people will never be anything, and they are losers. And I'll never forget coming out to a few different people and getting sent books that were like, if you pray hard enough, you can make the gay go away.
wow.
um, there's no one that's gay in the Bible. It's not real. um, Here are certain prayers you can do to erase it from your mind and your being. I mean, on and on. I'm like, hey, I didn't make this choice. It wasn't like I just woke up one day going, yeah, I want to rock the world. I think I'll be gay now. Like, I tried my hardest to be that guy with a beautiful wife and have 3 beautiful children and live in that beautiful house. And it
Mm,
wasn't for me. And I just couldn't do it anymore. But you could see where
It's also a little boring.
just a little. Oh my God. And now, Carter, wait till you get to the point where you're like, you'll be the one person everybody wants to have for dinner. And they're having boring people who are like, Carter, will you come for dinner next Friday night? And you're like, okay, who's coming? Who's coming? Oh, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All right. He's cute. She's nice. All right, I'll make it work.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
you sit there at these, I mean, and I grew up, I have an amazing group of friends that I've had since I was a young kid. And it's the same stories. After 59 years, everybody still tells the same stories. I'm like, and they're all looking at me.
Yeah.
So Andy, what's going on? What's new? Well, and they're like, Jesus, are you kidding me? What? And I'm like, oh yeah. And let me tell you what happened last week. Like, what? I'm like, I don't have a 9-to-5 job. I never will. I don't go to a cubicle. I don't sit there and I don't go to bed every night at 8:00 and I don't eat the same thing every night. And yeah, we go weird places and we cook different food and we see a lot of different people. And that's what makes the world go round,
Yeah. And God bless the people who will be telling the same stories until they're dead, but I don't want to be there.
They can have it, right?
They can have it. And I just want to live peacefully and if people can mind their business, that would be great.
Absolutely. Well, Carter, you're such an inspiration. What's next?
You too.
What's next?
So I've been writing a photo book of for the last few months, and I'm finally getting to a point where I'm kind of in the processes of it still, kind of a lot of writings that I had kind of in the thick of the kind of transition journey mentally. But they're kind of coming into a more consolidated place in my book. So I'm excited to put that out and pair that with some of the work that I've made, some of the photo work that I've made over the last 3 or 4 years. And I'm really excited to put that out.
Nice.
Hopefully in the next few months. And yeah, I think I'm very excited for that.
Are you going back to LA or where are you going?
I actually think I may be in more of a transition to the East Coast. I've kind of fallen in love with New York, and I'm excited to start spending more time there. Also spending time in LA as well, because a lot of my friends are still there, and a lot of the people that I work with are still there. But planning on working with a few more different artists in the coming months, especially in the summer and spring. And when touring starts again,
hello,
thank God,
please,
that's when the fun will start again, and I'm excited to go back on the road,
please,
with some of my friends.
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, let's hope that happens. But I think you'll love the world of being bi-coastal. And New York, you can't get, don't get me on that topic. New York, I've been to New York City 30 plus years. Yeah. I love that city. Oh my word. All right, I need some help, Carter. I'm going to ask you, I need you to give me your thoughts. So, a few months, I do cameos. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, and my lawyer, my LA lawyer is like, absolutely not. It diminishes you, blah, blah, blah. You kidding me? That's disgraceful. Half of Hollywood does cameos now. And guess what? Yeah. It's one of the ways I've supported myself through COVID are cameos. So I'm not embarrassed about it at all. Do you know how many cameos I've done where people have said, my sister hasn't slept in 9 days. She is a frontline nurse. And just, can you give her a shout out and tell her what an amazing job she's doing? I mean, I have been able to shed positivity to so many people during these really trying times. So I'm thrilled about that. But I get a request on Cameo, and I don't recognize the name Jared Leto. I wasn't tuning in, I wasn't thinking. And so Jared's like, oh, Andy, can you do me a favor? Can you say this? Say, okay, fans, sorry to let you down with COVID, but we've had to cancel the festival next month. But stay tuned, because Mars Island will definitely be happening in Croatia, August 2021, and you cannot miss it. Thanks for being great followers. Can't wait to see you next year. Cheers, Andy. Well, I had no idea. Like, I hadn't talked to Craig, my partner, anybody to say, what is Mars Island?
But you didn't know who Jared Leto
well,
was?
I guess afterwards I was like, oh my gosh, but no, I didn't think about it. I'm like, I don't know. Is it Jared Ludi? Is it Jared Lolo? Whatever. And so the next thing you know, I get an email to bookings at andykingevents.com. It's like, can someone talk to Andy for us? We run one of the largest executive level massage therapy startups in the world, and we would love to come work for him at Mars Island Music Festival in Croatia. I'm like, I'm not hosting that fucking thing. What are you talking about? And boom, another email comes in. Hi, we're a new touring group and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh. So I said,
so you hadn't recorded the cameo yet?
No, I recorded the cameo. I'd recorded it.
Oh, you had
3 months before, but some days I would do 10 a day. So I'm like,
right,
it doesn't even click. I didn't know. Was Mars Island like a candy bar? I didn't know. And and they didn't even go through the business side. And I wasn't supposed to shoot it. And it certainly was worth a hell of a lot more than the $100 I was paid. So the next thing you know, I said, Craig, something's going on. So he goes online. He's like, oh boy, uh-oh. Go to the website, Mars Island Music Festival, that Jared Leto's hosting August 2021. And whose picture do you think comes right up at the beginning of the website with your little story? Yes, it's you, Andy King. And I'm like, that little shit. He used my image and my name and that little thing for $100 to promote the music festival. So I'm like, whoa. Okay, Craig. So, I obviously, because of my stardom, whatever, I have a blue check. So most people see if I send a message to somebody on Instagram, it usually goes right to the top. They're like, oh, hey, Andy, cool. Thanks for reaching out. So I reached out to Jared, never replied. And I said, hey, Jared, listen, you were so cute to reach out to me on Cameo, and boy, you got a good deal. And I love what you're up to. Mars Island sounds really good. But I'm getting people reaching out now to me asking if they can be involved with my music festival because you're using my name and my image and everything on the website. I said, I'm not going to create any issues, but who is helping you with your sustainability initiatives for the festival? And if nobody is, I would like to do it. We'll work out some kind of a reasonable fee, but I definitely need to be there now, and I need to make sure that your festival is as close to zero waste as possible. And I will teach your entire production crew how we do it. But it's going to be very cool because we'll deal with local fishermen and local farmers and local wineries and breweries. And we won't have any plastic. We won't have any paper. We're going to make it very digital. But we're going to make it very experiential. We will have, the founders of Blue Ocean, my bracelets made from plastic water bottles. And they'll be there creating sculptures out of plastic water bottles found. We'll be doing definitely cool things. Jared never replied to me. Then we reached out to the production team. They replied and said, no, then we reached out to his clothing brand. They replied and said, reach out to his production team. I'm like, who do you think you're talking to? It's not like I'm Jesus, but hello, what? Yeah. And then they're like, and no one has gone back. Like, what would you do, Carter? Like, as a young, inspiring person who loves the music industry and knows all these musicians, like, how do you say to them, well, you took my name and you ran with it. It really wasn't very honest. That's okay. But you need to now, I think you want to use my name. We need to talk about sustainability. And that's my world coming out of COVID is going to be teaching people how to make festivals and large events smaller, more experiential, really cool and inspiring, and as close to zero waste as possible. And how do you do that? I can teach you.
Also, I think it's one of the, the thing that stands out to me the most is how somebody might have taken advantage of somebody who is just blatantly positive, like a blatantly positive person who has no malintent and like co-opting that, taking advantage of that. That's really sucky. I think if I were in that situation, I would have reached out to Cameo directly. And because there's got to be some sort of fine print in whatever Cameos. It's just it's just weird that it happened on Cameo. That's a very weird
I
thing
know.
to do.
Like, why would he reach